Hello fellow basement dwellers, and in today's video, we will be going over the weaknesses of every single false founding Space Marine Legion, and how to defeat them. Please enjoy today's video. The Dark Angels, that seemingly have no flaws. They're incredibly versatile, incredibly strong, fast, durable, their gene seed's incredibly stable, they don't seem to have any flaws. Well, they actually do have a flaw. In fact, if you read through some of their older codexes, you can actually find out they have a massive flaw in their stomach lining. For those of you who don't know, Space Marine stomachs are incredibly strong, able to eat anything from cardboard to battery acid and be fine. But the Dark Angels have an incredibly weak stomach lining that prevents them from eating spicy food. In fact, if you were to slip hot sauce or any sort of hot pepper into a Dark Angel's food, they would actually physically melt and die. This is due to their British ancestry. Next up on our list, the Emperor's Children. And how you defeat the Emperor's Children is any sort of harsh climate. Whether if it's dust, sand, mud, anything that would... Next up on our list, the Emperor's Children. And how you defeat the Emperor's Children is any sort of harsh climate. Whether if it's dust, sand, mud, anything that would stop their armor from shining, they would simply rather leave. Do keep in mind though, that if you do muddy their armor enough, they might just leave to then exterminatus you. But if you muddy up their armor just right, they'll leave and probably get the Iron Warriors to finish the job. And speaking of, the Iron Warriors. And there's two ways to really easily defeat an Iron Warrior. The first way is to have them perform a really incredible difficult task for you and simply don't thank them. This will cause them to become bitter and hate-filled until the point where they will eventually snap and take out half the solar system with them. Make sure you're not around when that happens. And the second way to defeat them is simply remind them that Rogel Dorn got the position as Praetorian of Terra. Although, do be warned of that second option, this will cause them to go into a Black Rage type state, where they will go berserk and most likely break your neck and just start killing everything in the area. But this will get them to leave their fortresses, so kinda like a half win. Next up, the White Scars. And how you defeat them is you must infiltrate the Imperium's command structure and order the White Scars to stay still. This will cause the White Scars to go absolutely berserk. Next up, the Imperial Fists. And how to defeat them is you must wait for them to leave their sandcastle and simply knock it over when they're not around. Next up is the Night Lords, and their legion's biggest genetic flaw and biggest weakness is being super into BDSM. If they torture you and you begin to moan, this will cause the Astartes to become very uncomfortable and for them either to execute you or just let you go, taking all of the fun out of torturing you. Next up, the Blood Angels, and their biggest weakness... Post-editor Justin, I had to cut that joke out. I'm gonna replace it with a more family-friendly one. This is a more safe joke. And their biggest gene flaw is actually, if the Blood Angels are about to attack you and they get into melee distance, is actually just to start laughing and saying Horus W. This will cause the Marine to start crying. Moving on to the Iron Hand Space Marine Legion. And their biggest gene flaw is actually a weakness of the muscles, skin, and tendons around the neck. Their gene seed has a penchant for making these areas way less protective than other Marines. As you know, Space Marine skin and muscle fibers are incredibly hard to cut through. But their gene flaw makes it to where their skin around their neck and their muscles around their neck are paper thin. And due to how thin and fragile all the tendons are, the Iron Hands can't replace their neck with any sort of cybernetics. Meaning no matter how chromed up the Iron Hand Legionnaire is, his neck is still incredibly fragile and prone to being cut off. They inherited this soft, squishy neck from their father, Ferrus Manus. Next up on the list are the World Eaters. The World Eaters, and how to defeat them? Just play dead, and they'll get bored. Just play dead and they'll get bored. Next up, the Ultramarines. And to defeat the Ultramarines, you have to become ungovernable. Next up, the Death Guard. Deodorant. The Thousand Sons have two pretty major flaws. One due to their genetic lineage, and the other due to their current state. Their main flaw are high school bullies. And their current major flaw, but the current most easy way to defeat them, are vacuum cleaner. Next up, the Lunar Wolves. And their biggest major genetic flaw is the fact that if Horus isn't there leading them, it takes them 10,000 years to do literally anything. Moving on. Next up, the World Bearers. And their biggest weakness are atheists. When first encountering an atheist, they will debate them on the concept of religion, and if that fails to work, they will literally show them witchcraft, sorcery, and demons, and if that doesn't work, they'll go crying to their patron gods for forgiveness. Next up, the Salamanders. And their biggest weakness is telling them no when they want to give you a hug. This will cause the Marine to go into a depressive state. Next up, the Raven Guard. And they don't really have a genetic flaw, but the easy way to defeat them is simply turning on a light switch. Moving on. The Alpha Legion. The best and most efficient way to defeat the Alpha Legion is to be straightforward. Ask direct questions and refuse to elaborate on any of their shenanigans, rhymes, or riddles. Simply be incredibly direct. To know when you've really thrown a ratchet into the Alpha Legionnaire's plans, they should say something along the lines of "I am Alpharius," or "This is just as planned," or most likely both. Anyway, as an apology for how cringe that was, I have procured a couple of new microphones, and I'm going to be saying some phrases into the microphones to see which one you guys like, see which one you want me to switch to. I'll just be saying a couple random words in the microphone, and you please tell me which one you like the most. We will be trying out 3 microphones. To tell me which microphone you like the most, just leave 1 for the first microphone, 2 for the second microphone, and, so on and so forth. And leave a 0 if you want me to stay with my current microphone. Alright, let's go into the audio clips.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their club.
Once I was talking to Herman Melville. And he said, I'm writing a book called Moby Dick. It's about a guy in a boat. Do you think it needs something?
Yeah, so which microphone was your favorite? Please leave your thoughts and opinions about the video and the microphones down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Hey, post-editor Justin here. I have a new microphone to try out, and if you like the audio from this microphone, please leave a number 4 in the comments, and I'll switch to it.
But Major Cool, he does a lot of damage to Fenris each time, and he stabbed out one of Lehman's hearts. Why does no one remember that?